Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. So today we're diving into some interesting developments with BSNL.
Right.
A bit of background first. BSNL is India's state-owned telecom company.
Right.
And, they've often been seen as playing catch-up to the private sector giants.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But a recent article from India TV News dated January 24th, 2025 suggests they're not just catching up, they might actually be shaking things up a bit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So let's start with this 4G rollout of theirs.
Okay, yeah.
They've activated over 65,000 4G towers across the country.
Wow.
That's a massive undertaking.
That is huge, especially when you compare it to, how Jio sort of disrupted the market a while back with their 4G launch.
Right.
BSNL's rollout, it's later for sure, but it's actually much more extensive, especially in terms of reaching those rural areas.
That's really interesting. So do we know what their strategy is? Like, are they going for affordability like Jio did, or what?
Well, we don't have the pricing details yet, but it seems like they're really focusing on that wide coverage, especially in those underserved areas.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be surprising if they adopted a similar approach to Jio in terms of pricing, attracting a similar demographic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The big question is, will it be enough to really compete? Because those private companies already have a pretty strong foothold.
Right. And of course, 4G isn't the only thing they're working on, right? They're also pushing ahead with 5G, partnering with Tata for development, and they've got government backing too. So what do you think? How will this partnership with Tata affect their 5G ambitions? Could they actually become a real contender against, like, Jio and Airtel?
Well, I think the Tata partnership is really key here.
Go.
Tata brings a lot of expertise to the table, especially when it comes to building out network infrastructure.
Right.
So BSNL basically gets access to this really advanced 5G technology without having to build it from scratch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you have the government support, which is, it's a bit of a wild card. Well, it definitely gives BSNL resources and maybe some policy support to help them compete.
Right.
But it also brings up these questions about, is the playing field actually level? Or will there be some favoritism towards BSNL?
It's true. It'll be interesting to see how the private companies react to all of this, with BSNL getting aggressive with 4G and 5G.
Yeah, definitely.
But, while they're busy building these new networks, they're also making some tough decisions about their old infrastructure. They're shutting down 3G service in some regions, starting with Bihar.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart move, even if it seems a bit counterintuitive at first.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Well, think of it this way. Shutting down 3G frees up resources and spectrum.
Okay.
And they can then redirect those towards their 4G and 5G expansion.
So it's about prioritizing.
Exactly. It's about streamlining their services and focusing on newer technologies.
Makes sense from a business perspective, but what about the customers? Could this hurt them at all?
Yeah, there's definitely a risk, especially in rural areas where 4G adoption might still be low.
Right.
They could end up alienating some existing 3G customers.
Yeah.
So BSNL really needs to manage this transition carefully, make sure those customers can switch over smoothly to 4G and 5G.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, right?
For sure.
Keep the current customers happy while attracting new ones.
Yeah, it's like trying to renovate a house while people are still living in it. You got to make improvements without disrupting everyone's lives too much.
Speaking of improvements, they're also expanding their fiber-based internet TV service, IFTV.
Right.
They just rolled it out in Rajasthan, adding to their existing coverage in other states like Madhya Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. And the interesting thing is they're offering over 500 live TV channels at no extra cost to their Bharat fiber users.
Now, that's a smart move.
Yeah.
Bundling those services together like that lets them cater to a wider range of customer needs.
Right.
And maybe attract some new subscribers with that comprehensive package.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're becoming this one-stop shop for all your communication and entertainment needs.
Exactly. But hold on a sec. What exactly is Bharat Fiber? I haven't heard of that before.
Oh, it's their fiber-to-the-home broadband service.
Oh.
It's basically their answer to the growing demand for high-speed internet, especially for things like streaming.
So by bundling IFTV with Bharat Fiber, they're making it a pretty attractive deal.
Exactly, yeah. But even with all this good news, there's also a bit of a darker side to this growth.
Uh-oh.
The article mentions a scam involving fake tower installations and bogus job offers, all using BSNL's name.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. On the one hand, you could say it's a sign that their brand recognition is increasing.
How so?
Well, scammers usually target well-known companies, right? to make their schemes seem more legitimate.
So it's like a weird indicator of their growing relevance?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But it also shows the challenges they face as they grow. They need to be really proactive about protecting their brand and educating people about these scams.
Yeah, they don't want this negativity to overshadow all the positive things they're doing.
Exactly.
And that actually brings up a bigger question. How does all this impact the average Indian consumer?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Well, for the average Indian consumer, I think BSNL's transformation basically means more choices.
More choices are always good, right? Usually means better deals for everyone.
Exactly. It could lead to lower prices, maybe some more innovative plans, and definitely better customer service as these companies try to win people over.
And hopefully better coverage too, especially in those rural areas where getting online has been a real struggle.
Absolutely. BSNL, focusing on expanding that 4G network, could really bring reliable internet to a lot of people who haven't had it before.
Yeah, think about what that could do for education, healthcare, even economic opportunities in those communities.
Yeah, it's about closing that digital divide, empowering people and businesses. Imagine a small business owner in a village being able to sell their products online, or a student who can access educational resources no matter where they live.
It's not just about cities anymore, it's about connecting the whole country.
Exactly, and it's not just individuals either. Think about all the businesses, especially those small and medium ones in those underserved areas.
Yeah, good point. Better connectivity can really change the game for them.
Right. Help them connect with customers, suppliers, even new markets, and that can lead to economic growth and more jobs.
It's like a ripple effect. The whole community benefits, not just individuals.
Right. But along with choice and access, there's also the question of quality of service.
Yeah, that's definitely important. BSNL hasn't always had the best reputation when it comes to network reliability and customer service.
True. But to be fair, they have been working on improving those things.
So have they made much progress?
Well, it's still a work in progress. They've been investing in network upgrades and training their customer service teams.
Okay.
I guess the real test is whether consumers actually see a difference.
I guess time will tell on that one, but at least they're acknowledging the issues and trying to fix them.
Yeah, that's important. They know that to really compete with the big players, they have to offer that same level of quality.
So it's not just about a wide network and low prices, it's about the whole package.
Exactly. Reliable service, good customer support, a positive experience overall.
It's about making people feel confident that they made the right choice.
Right, and that brings us to the big question. What does all of this mean for you, the listener?
Yeah, how might all these developments change your choices as a consumer? What things would you consider when picking a telecom provider? Would you think about switching to BSNL after everything we've talked about?
Well, there's no one right answer. It's about knowing what you need and what's important to you. Do you want the cheapest option? The widest coverage? The best customer service?
Or maybe you're interested in that fiber-based internet TV service and the bundling options.
Whatever your priorities are, BSNL's transformation is something to keep an eye on. It's shaking things up in the market, and that's good news for consumers.
It's definitely an interesting time to be a telecom consumer in India. But with all this excitement, we can't forget about that scam we mentioned.
Right, it's important to be careful and stay informed.
Yeah, scammers are always trying to take advantage of people's hopes, and in this case, they're using the buzz around BSNL's expansion.
It's a good reminder to always do your research before you make any decisions, especially when it involves money or your personal information.
If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Always double-check information from official sources, and don't fall for unrealistic promises.
And if you're ever unsure, just contact the company directly or talk to someone you trust for advice.
So to wrap up this part of our deep dive, the key takeaway is this: BSNL is making big changes in the Indian telecom industry, creating more options, potentially better prices, and some exciting new possibilities for consumers. But as things change, it's important to stay informed, be smart, and be cautious.
Knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay curious, and keep asking questions.
And with that, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some potential futures for the Indian telecom industry. So we've talked about all these ambitious moves from BSNL and how they might impact consumers.
Yeah, they're really trying to shake things up, trying to get a bigger piece of that telecom market.
But what if they want to do even more than just compete with the private companies? Like, what if they're aiming for something even bigger?
Okay, now you've got me curious.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
What if BSNL uses its advantage, the government backing, to partner not just with companies like Tata, but with their rivals too?
You're talking about collaborating instead of competing. That's a pretty radical idea.
Yeah, think about it. Pooling resources to expand coverage, especially in those remote areas where it's tough to build.
Sharing infrastructure to cut costs and be more efficient.
Working together on research and development, pushing the boundaries of 5G and beyond.
Yeah. It sounds kind of idealistic, but I can see how it could benefit everyone. Imagine like a truly interconnected India where everyone has access to the internet no matter where they live.
It would be a win-win, right? Better service for consumers and a stronger telecom industry overall.
Yeah, but would the private companies really go for it? I mean, they're all fighting for market share.
True, but they also face the same challenges, right? Expensive infrastructure, the whole spectrum acquisition process, the constant pressure to innovate.
Yeah, maybe working together could help them overcome some of those hurdles and focus on providing better service to more people.
It's an interesting thought. Could BSNL actually be the one to bring everyone together and create this new era of cooperation in the Indian telecom industry?
It's a good question, and only time will tell if it actually happens.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of BSNL and their journey of transformation. We've looked at their strategies, their goals, and how they're impacting the Indian telecom landscape.
We talked about their challenges, the opportunities they have, and that fascinating idea of collaboration changing the industry.
As always, we encourage you to keep learning about this topic, stay informed, and share your thoughts and ideas.
The future of telecom in India is constantly changing and full of potential, and we're all part of that story as it unfolds.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those conversations going.